everybody, it's Romania Black. So yeah, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. I was like, there were some people in the Discord that were like, oh, I'll check. I think it was Reiki and Pichu. They were like, oh, we'll check and make sure that there's no spoilers for chapters 35 through 38. And I was like, okay, thank you. And as soon as they said, yes, you're good to go, I was like, so I could not wait. I know that I'm recording this early, and so I'm probably going to miss a lot of comments with the start of volume 2, but that's okay. We'll just incorporate those as we go. But I couldn't wait. I was like, this second volume has started out so wonderfully. I'm like, no, I want to read it so bad. So yeah, so we are on volume 2. We're looking at chapters 35 through 38 today. I originally was going to do just chapter 35, and then I realized it was only like 20 pages. I was like, So this may be a longer discussion anyway, which is, again, why I'm recording it ahead of time, because it may take me longer than usual to get through. But we're going to look at chapters 35 through 38 and then talk about the Manhua starts at chapter 68. I've been told we're nearly caught up with the Manhua, which is fine. My theory is that most of this discussion in these videos is about the novel anyway. I just like to incorporate pictures of the manhwa to show off how great the chapters look when they're illustrated. So my theory is we'll just get to where it's caught up at, and then every couple weeks, whenever a new chapter drops, I'll just kind of do some highlights and be like, here's what it looks like. It looks great. Here's those scenes we've read now that they're illustrated. Isn't Star Ember's work great? And then we'll just go from there. But yeah, I'm full speed ahead because this is a long story. There's so much happening, and the last 3 chapters alone were like insane. So now we're adding another chapter onto it. So surely there won't be a whole lot of information, right? Right. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. I woke up this morning, I poured myself a cup of coffee and thought, yeah, it's time. I just wanted to read Heaven Official's Blessing. That's when you know something's good, is when you wake up and you're like, I can't wait. I want to watch more or read more. So yeah. I do have a comment though before we start. Molly MJH. We were talking about how in the last couple of videos I was like, man, the official English translation, which is back there on the shelf, you can kind of see it. I was like, man, the official translation and the web serialization translation that I have that I'm reading here for the reaction, I'm like, they're really similar. Like, they're like eerily similar. And Molly MIGH was like, yeah, that's because Suika, who does the web serialization translation, is also the one they hired to do the official English translation. I was like, oh, which I really like that. I think that's pretty impressive and cool. If you were a fan translator just doing this for fun, and then a company, a publisher's like, hey, do you want to go back through and double check everything for the official translation? What a job. Like, that's freaking awesome. So I'm like, good for you, Suika. I'm really happy that you got that gig. So yeah, I've noticed there's like a few word differences. And so maybe when they went back in to retranslate, they were like, okay, well, this sounds a little bit better. Or this is a closer translation. So I do see that. But for the most part, beat for beat, which I'm glad, because I was worried reading the web serialization that it would be a lot different than the actual novel that I have. It's not. So that's good to know. But yeah, I'm really excited, y'all. We're going into the Ghost City. The Windmaster and Xie Lian have teamed up. I feel like it's more of a, if I was going to liken it to Sherlock, because it's a detective story and I'm from America, so why not? I would say that if Xie Lian is Sherlock, then San Long's obviously Moriarty, but they got a thing going, right? And then I would liken the Windmaster to like Watson, but like an upgraded Watson, like a Watson that's on the same playing field as maybe a Mycroft, I guess. I was gonna say like a Watson on the same playing field as Sherlock, but that's pretty much Mycroft. So I guess the Windmaster's Mycroft, only they're not related. So, but I'm so excited, y'all. I woke up this morning and was like, let's do Heaven Official's Blessing and just see what happens. So I'm really excited. I hope y'all are too. But in any case, we are going to start reading Heaven Official's Blessing, chapters 35 through 38, and we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Enter the Ghost City. Rendezvous with the Ghost King. Oh, just spare no expense on these titles. Let's just jump right in. So it wasn't until 4 hours later that Xie Lian had time to sneak a peek at his scroll and learn the backstory of this Windmaster. Oh, okay, so we get Windmaster backstory. All right, let's do this. Oh, so it says that before the Earthmaster ascended, his mortal name was Ming Yi. And after the ascension, he was to be addressed as the Earthmaster Yi. So they kind of take on their elemental names. So Ming Yi was a man too. Just fooling around as ladies, huh? Interesting. Oh, the older brother of the Windmaster was the water tyrant, the water master. Who controls mortal wealth. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting because that's kind of seems like the genre is tied to Blackwater. So we talked about that. So, okay. All right. How curious. How curious. Nice. And they talk about how, like, the Windmaster's personality is like the wind. Interesting. Okay. Oh, so I like that Xie Lian's got his arms crossed, like I'm chatting with you, but I'm a little withdrawn. Like I'm gonna hold myself back, saying the Pei family produced 2 ascended gods in one name, and that's legendary. But you and your brother, one wind, one water, ascending at the same time is truly a tale of wonder. So they ascended together. Ooh, interesting. Okay. It must be known that even in a million, there may not be that one who had the ability to ascend. Okay. Pei Ming and Pei Su were separated by a few hundred years. All right. And he wasn't a direct descendant. He was just from Pei Ming's branch of the family. Who knows how many times removed. But Xing Shan and Wudu were real blood-related brothers. But of course, Xing Shan laughs it off and says, oh, it's nothing. Yeah, we're born from the same mother. So they're half-brothers. Went to school together, cultivated together. So naturally, we'd ascend together. Okay. He's cramming. Shi Wudo. Okay, so Xing Shan and Shi Wudo. Okay, they have the same. Okay. Wudu ascended first, but after only a few years, his brother passed a heavenly calamity. Ooh. And mortals often worship them together, which, okay, it makes sense. He was passing out all the merits, which is kind of tied to heavenly money. So that makes a lot of sense too. Okay. They enjoyed a good relationship. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Oh, interesting. So apparently the Water Master and Pei Ming are friends, but the Windmaster hates Pei Ming, like can't stand him. Knowing is one thing, Ashken and Xie Lian's like, well, even so, couldn't this cause a rift between your brother and Pei Ming? You having like some issues? And he says, if that caused a rift, even better. I wish my brother would stop hanging out with him and leave the 3 tumors moniker behind one day. And he's like, 3 tumors? You didn't know about this either? Fine, whatever. Well, yeah, I mean, Xie Lian, he's been gone for a while. I know you're not up to date with anything. Oh, you can just listen for giggles. The 3 tumors is the nickname given to the 3 heavenly officials who don't have a good reputation, but have a good relationship with each other. Ming Guang, Ling Wen, and my brother. Oh, Ling Wen doesn't have a good reputation? Wait, what? Oh, I can't believe it's not Xie Lian, Xie Lian, Xie Lian. Oh, shut up, Xie Lian. You're not. Stop. No. Oh, even if I can't stand him, the whole business this time around was started by little Pei himself. There's no way I'd let Pei Ming pin this on the Goxie Banyu and protect little Pei. It doesn't matter if you're mortal or a god or a ghost. You have to be responsible for your own actions. Bullying a little girl is low. Oh, and that last line was uttered in contempt. And Xie Lian said, the Windmaster is defender of justice. Ooh. So the Windmaster's like, well, you have a good sense of justice too, and talks about how he overheard Xie Lian talking about it in the communication array, so they went and checked it out themselves, but Xie Lian was already there. So that explains that the Windmaster did not send the puppet to go lure Xie Lian to Banyu. It wasn't the Windmaster, and I'm assuming it's not the Earthmaster, so then it probably was Pei Jr. or someone else. Interesting. Oh, he's so happy he's forming a friendship with the Windmaster. That's cute. Yay, good for you, Xie Lian. Yeah, the Windmaster's a popular guy, but good on you, Xie Lian. Make a friend. Oh, why'd he turn into a lady? Oh, truth be told, I'm more powerful in this form. I like that, MXTX. Nice, nice. This is rather interesting. So, talking about how the Windmaster, that how their worshipped affect what they become. So talking about how the Windmaster and the Watermaster were worshipped together, but people thought it would be bizarre worshipping two male gods together at a temple and saying it was weird. So kind of a commentary about, believing two men could be together, even though they're brothers, so it shouldn't be weird. They're not romantically involved. But thinking that lords and ladies go hand in hand and handsome and beautiful make a pair. So somewhere along the way, the Windmaster was sculpted as a goddess. There's kind of like a body horror aspect to this, because the idea that the way people perceive them can actually change their appearance. Like, what if the Windmaster hadn't wanted to become a woman, but they just did because people worship them that way? That's kind of scary, that how the people view them gets to dictate what they actually are. There's kind of like a horror aspect to that. And then how the stories changed from them being brother and sister to there being a version with their husband and wife. And then the tales get more outlandish. But then people pray to Xingqiang as a woman, as Lady Windmaster. And then we see that the same thing happened with Ling Wen. That Ling Wen was a lady official, but because she didn't dress as fashionably or feminine as the other lady deities, she was often in black, serious, and competent. People started to think she was a man. And if you asked any mortal, is Ling Wen a man or a woman, anyone would respond with confidence, a man. A civil god was, of course, a male. And for this alone, when Ling Wen ascended, she suffered disadvantages. She was a civil goddess, but many in the mortal realm thought, how could a woman be in that position? How could ladies possibly ensure good fortune and literary competence? Must not be effective. That's why she has the bad rep. Later, some of the devotees couldn't get over it and rebuilt her statues into male gods, transforming her from the goddess Ling Wen to the god Ling Wen, and even made up an entire extravagant backstory. The truth was, an official was an official. Spiritual powers were all the same, and the legends were all fake. But people still ate them up. Since then, when Ling Wen needed to appear in dreams, she could only do so in male form. Interesting commentary, MXTX. Oh, interesting. So, who cared if you were a god or a ghost? You have to appear as people believed. Appearances could be different by 1,000,000 miles, and people still saw what they wanted to see. The upper court heavenly officials no longer cared for this kind of thing. Oh, so they're like, it doesn't matter. It's just how people perceive you. That's how you're going to be portrayed, whether you like it or not. What an interesting commentary. But the Windmaster doesn't seem to care, and just even drags others into it. Making Xie Lian wonder about the real identity of the lady in black that was with the Windmaster at that time. Yeah, could it have been, the Earthmaster? Interesting. And the Windmaster trying to persuade Xie Lian to disguise himself as a woman with very convincing reasons like, women have stronger auras in yin, therefore it's much easier to hide in the Ghost City crowds. Xie Lian's like, I don't have enough power to transform. I'll lend you my powers. That's the reason why Heavenly Emperor appointed me to this mission, no? Please save your powers when we need to fight the enemy. So, I like the Xie Lian's like, I'm not becoming a lady, just leave me alone. Oh no. Probably because he's afraid that then it'll stick, right? An eerie atmosphere. Of course there's an eerie atmosphere near the Ghost City. Okay. Ooh. So the Windmaster pulls out a small jug of booze. Do you want some? And Xie Lian took a sip and gave it back. You can't drink? I can, Xie Lian replied. But drinking causes insanity. So just a taste is enough. So drunk Xie Lian has been a bad experience, apparently. Okay. Good to know. Okay. I like the Windmaster just finishes the liquor and throws it aside. I'm good. Gotta have some liquid courage for Ghost City. So yeah, it appears kind of like it just spirited away. It just pops up, right? they had prepared beforehand and erased their spiritual aura so that when they walked, they were like people-shaped logs without a scent of life. Because, yeah, they would need to be ghosts, so they wouldn't have to seem alive, which they aren't anyway. So, I need a facial. Oh, it's rotted again. Oh, God, it's kind of gross. I like that the fact that Xie Lian's hot helps save him in this moment, where the lady ghosts that are like suspicious of them are like, "Where'd you get your facials done? Your skin looks great." And Xie Lian's like, "Glad this is getting us to the ghost city." But I like it. It just pops up. Okay. So yeah, the thing is, they're not worried about fighting the ghosts. They just don't want to cause a stir as they're just now getting into the ghost city. I love it. Those without masks could only be described as bizarre. Yeah, like the deities in Spirited Away. Okay. Interesting. Xie Lian walking around the city and seeing like how nasty the food is and says he watched and suddenly gained confidence. Like Xie Lian's like, that's why San Long can eat my cooking. Because the ghost city cooking's awful too. Oh no! Oh no, Xie Lian! Oh honey! Oh. So it's like everything's just like crazy. Like people are gambling and throwing money in the air and it's the money of the dead. But then there's like a butcher stall, but the butcher is a boar and the thing is getting butchered are humans. Like there's human heads hanging in order of prices from like a child's head to an adult's head, and he's like carving up a human leg. Oh, so it's like reversed of what you would normally think. Oh, this was truly a swarm of evil, the chaos of hell. Oh, humans butchering pigs was a common sight, but pigs butchering humans wasn't. So Xie Lian couldn't help but steal a few extra peeks. Oh, and the boar noticed. If you ain't buying, then don't watch. You're fucking trying to start something? Oh no. Xie Lian got out of there. Oh no. Oh no, but then he was alone. No, Xie Lian got split from the crowd. Oh no, honey. Damn it. No. And you can't use spells because spells used by the heavens were restricted. There ain't no Wi-Fi in here. Oh no. Oh no. Xie Lian getting hit on by this ghostly woman. The ghost women in this story are a lot different than Modao Zushi. In Modao Zushi, the ghostly ladies that are with like Wushin are all like, they're haunting and creepy, but they still are very human in nature. They're just dead. They're just ghosts. But in here, they're literally monsters. Like she had heavy makeup, the white foundation, even when she opened her mouth, clumps of it would fall from her face. Her bosom stuffed as if something was filled in her flesh. A truly shocking sight. And I like she's trying to get at Xie Lian, and he's like, no. And he tries to call her a lady, and she's like, who the hell calls me a lady in this day and age? Oh no, Xie Lian. Oh no. She's like, I'm going to charge you. And he's like, my lady, please. He's like, I don't want to be with this lady. No. Oh no. And she's like, quit calling me lady. Nobody cares for it. Oh, and she's like trying to expose herself to Xie Lian, and he's like not prepared for such a bold move, and sighed again before turning away. Oh no! Little did she realize Xie Lian had grown up in the royal holy pavilion, practicing abstinence for most of his mortal life. His body and mind had always been as steady as the mountains. It didn't matter what he saw, his heart was still like water. Anything unseemly would have him automatically chant sutras in his mind, calming his spirit. That's not setting up anything. Oh no, Xie Lian, why would you say that? No! Because she's like trying to tempt him. And I feel like he's like Shinji from Neon Genesis. She's like, aren't you even a man? He's like, I am. And she's like, then prove it. And the people on the sidelines are calling her a slut and saying she's ugly and that's why he doesn't want her. But Xie Lian, being the damn cinnamon roll saint that he is like, it's not that, it's because I have an unspeakable affliction. I can't get erect. Xie Lian, what are you doing? No! You could just say it's because you don't like women. He's an 800-year-old virgin. Oh no. Oh no, Xie Lian. And then everybody laughed. The victim of ridicule is now Xie Lian. No one had ever met a man who was brave enough to announce to the world that they had such a problem. However, to someone like Xie Lian, it didn't matter whether his private member was functional or not, so he already developed a habit of using it as an excuse to get out of these kinds of situations. And it was a method that worked every single time. Oh. Oh. That's so sad. Lan Chang is starting shit again. Oh. Poor Xie Lian. Oh, is this the building? Is this the building from the trailer? The place was a gambler's den. Oh, there are 2 pillars at the entrance. The left said money over life, gains over shame. And it just laughed over the top. Ooh. I love that Xie Lian is not really worried about the vulgar messages, but the calligraphy is what gets him, because he's like, he studied calligraphy by the best teachers in the land. So our little virgin deity was taught like the finest in calligraphy in the palace, and he's like, these characters are a real tragedy. He started to think they were kind of funny. Okay, interesting. He's like, well, the Windmaster's probably not here. They're probably in the beauty parlor with female ghosts. Okay. He certainly should have moved on, yet inexplicably, after only a few steps, he turned around and went inside. Oh. 4 masked bouncers were walking over carrying another. The man was writhing in pain, and his legs had been cut at the knees, and blood was pouring from the stumps, and a small ghost followed closely, greedily licking up the blood on the floor as they went. Oh, that's a visual! That is a visual. Oh. Ooh. A petite attendant in a laughing mask approached him. But people here don't use money to gamble. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Oh, they bet their, like, limbs. Oh. Oh. No need. Never mind your arm. Even your shit life is worthless here. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, no. Does San Long know that Xie Lian's there? Oh, no. Oh, no. It was slightly deeper than he remembered. However, it was because of this it sounded even more pleasing to the ears. Xie Lian, you definitely are not into women. Oh, my God. Behind the long table, there was a screen curtain, and behind the curtain, he could see the faint red figure laid back leisurely on a long chair. Oh, it's the scene from the trailer. Ah! And now we're gonna start chapter 36. Okay. Oh, what a great way to end that chapter 35. Oh man. Oh, okay. Okay, admiring the flower through red clouds, a heart full of sympathy. What a chapter title. Oh. The words out of Hua Cheng's mouth were exceedingly condescending and rude. Okay. Young master, you're very lucky today. How so? Our Lord is here to play. It's only these past couple days he was in the mood to pass by, so isn't this good luck? Seems suspicious he's only come by in the last few days, as if he was expecting Xie Lian to be here. As soon as he heard Hua Cheng's voice, he started pushing himself through the crowd. He had to see him again! Oh! He wanted to see him! It was a human. He wasn't surprised. Okay. There were also many cultivators with considerable skill and sometimes mere mortals who were looking for their own death. So there's a man. So the man is betting against Hua Cheng and he's human. The gambling man had a mask on, but both his eyes were visible, bulging and laced with red as if bleeding. And his lips were pale as if he hadn't seen the sun in days. He looked more like a ghost than anybody there. How come the other guy was able to bet both his legs? The one before used to be an acclaimed bandit who was known for his light footwork and the ability to take flight whenever he wanted. It was the crux of his life, so his legs were worthy as a bet. You're neither an artisan nor a medic. What worth does your arm possess? Oh. Then I bet 10 years worth of my only daughter's life. Xie Lian was stunned to hear those words. Where on earth is there a father who would be willing to bet on the life of his children? Is that even possible? Hua Cheng snorted very well. He could sense the coldness from those words. Sanlong has always said he has good luck and all his fortune sticks came up to the best of luck. If he bets against this man, wouldn't he for sure win and take away 10 years of life from that man's daughter? Even will be a loss, odds will be a win. Once the cup is open, there'll be no turning back. Now, please. Odd, I've won. Oh. But he won, he should just stop, right? He says, I want to bet again. Oh. He wanted everyone competing with me to drop dead. If that's your wish, it's much more difficult to fulfill than your previous wish. Won't you consider a different wish, like asking for your business to flourish? No, that's the only thing I want to bet on. That's what I'm betting on. If that's your wish, 10 years of your daughter's life may not be enough. Then 20 years of her life and the fate of her marriage. He's selling his daughter. Oh. Xie Lian thought Hua Cheng will never let such a thing happen, and after much hesitation, he stepped forward. He was thinking whether he should join in using a small trick when suddenly the Windmaster shows up. Damn it. Don't be rash. And he returned to his male form. Why did you transform back? It's a long story. The group of women dragged me around saying they were going to introduce me to good beauty parlors, and I had to escape. Oh. Check my face. How is it? Is anything wrong? Do you see anything in my face? Oh my God. Windmaster. Oh, Chengchu's coming here. Oh, I forgot that. So he just met Xie Lian because that was where they agreed to meet at. That seems suspicious. Yeah, meeting at the place that Sanlong's at. Okay. And you were here too. You called Chengchi out to meet here. He's Long, yeah, His Highness Tai Hua. You know that much. He's the martial god of the East. It'd be best if he came too. The Gambler's Den is one of the most bustling and chaotic places in Ghost City. It's a landmark. Many people and gods alike go in and out. It's much less conspicuous for us to be about, so I told him to meet us here. Oh, this man. I know what you want to say, and I agree. But the Ghost City is Hua Cheng's territory, and the rules here were all adhered to willingly. If you dare to gamble, then you can play. The heavens can do nothing. Let's just observe, and we can come up with something if it gets out of hand. Oh! Someone busted in to stop the gambling cup with a strike and crushed it to pieces. What? Oh! 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 So the one who stopped them was Long Qianchu. Oh no. Did you not tell him to be more careful when coming here and keeping it low key? Oh no! Oh my gosh, he did the same thing Xie Lian wanted to do, except he wasn't cautious. He just went all in and did it. Oh my God. I like that Sanlong's voice is really lazy in this. He's like, you must have guts of steel to come to my territory. Like he's just bored with it all. Oh, Long, this is not good. Oh no. So the Windmaster didn't seem to know that it was him, that was Sanlong behind the curtain. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, we're dead. What do we do about it now? Let's hope he doesn't expose himself. Oh my gosh, like, Long, what are you doing? Why are you getting him riled up? We're not humans. What do we need humanity for? Oh no. Oh, there's a path for you in heaven, but if you refuse to take it and instead choose to barge into hell, what shall we do with you? Yeah, he knows that Long is a heavenly official. Uh-oh. But Long completely missed the meaning behind the words. Oh, he's naive! He's naive! And this, oh my gosh, I'm getting like the vibes of, I thought that Long was like sneaky, but no, I have a feeling that he's the one that's going to get used because he's so naive and just like doesn't get it. He has this big, we're going to talk about this. Okay, so yeah, after throwing a table back and forth with each other, and Long almost revealed his power, he ends up getting it sealed by Hua Cheng. His power ends up getting sealed because it's his territory. He can do what he wants. So he can't release his power now, even if he wanted to. Awesome. And he's just like suspended in the air like a starfish. I like how they describe it like a starfish. And he's just suspended up there and they just point and laugh at him. Oh my gosh. Long had never experienced this kind of humiliation before, and his face flushed red as he wordlessly struggled against the invisible binds. Oh, from time to time, a ghost from below would jump up in an attempt to pat his head. Oh, Hua Cheng had him hung fairly high. Or it could have been the embarrassment of the century. Well, how considerate of you, Hua Cheng. What an interesting catch today. I'll let you guys play with it. Whoever's lucky and wins big can take it home to roast. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is interesting. So they're like, we have to get Long back because otherwise these ghosts are going to win him, not knowing he's heavenly official, and take him home and kill him. So they're like, what do we do? So I like that Xie Lian asks how the Windmaster's luck is. The Windmaster's like, well, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Like the wind, you just don't know. And he's like, how's your luck? And Xie Lian's like, it's really bad. So he's like, I mostly get snake eyes. And so the Windmaster says, okay, well then you'll play and then just bet on the lowest number. And then maybe that'll work. And he's like, okay, let me try. So I love the idea that these two heavenly officials are gambling to try to get back a heavenly official who's caught by San Long. Oh my God. Oh my God. Small. 2 6s. It's right in the middle. No. Not even a change of rules can change my luck. Oh no. Windmaster, maybe it's better if we just fight. Oh no. Oh. The Lord has an announcement to make. The Lord said to change up the rules. Okay. He's in a good mood today, and he wanted to play a couple rounds with everyone. Anyone is free to bet against him. Whoever wins gets to take home the thing above. Whether you want to steam it, boil it, fry it, or pickle it, it's all up to you. Oh. So is he trying to lure Xie Lian to bet against him so they'll let him win? Oh. Boomer Xie Lian. This child, it's better if you speak less. Oh my God. If that's the case, he said softly, let me have a try. Oh, he slowly stood up. Oh shit! Did he not know Xie Lian was there then? Oh no. Within the hall, demons and ghosts automatically parted for this brave warrior. Oh shit. Oh my God. Oh, so the woman that brought him up had been just really casual with everybody else, but was suddenly using honorifics. Did she know? He took the cup randomly. He raised his head and glanced at Long, who was hanging above him. He didn't make a sound. Countless pairs of eyes zoomed on the cup in his hands. Oh. Wait, what's the matter? The Lord said your cup-shaking posture isn't quite right. Have I been doing it wrong this whole time? He invited you to go up. He's willing to teach you. Shut up! Does this mean he's gonna die? Why teach him? Isn't this how we all shake cups? Is there a right way of doing it? Oh my God. Please go ahead. The red silhouette, the person behind the curtains was standing directly in front of him. Oh my God. A right hand, white and elegant. Slender fingers had a red thread tied around the third. Oh. A youth, roughly around 18 or 19, silently stood behind the curtains. San Long, so he's a few years older, was slightly more defined. The shyness of boyhood had morphed into one of calmness, and he carried an air of wild playfulness that couldn't be tamed. And the same eye that twinkled like stars had never moved away. Although as bright as a star, there was only one left eye. The other was hidden behind a black eye patch. Ah! Oh my gosh! I love this! I love this so much! Oh! Chapter 37, Admiring the Flower Through Red Clouds, Heart Full of Sympathy 2. So Xie Lian's the only one that can see him. And he's gotten taller. Of course he has. He had to strain his neck to look up. That height difference! In a deep voice, would you like to bet on the highest or the lowest? One that's pleasant to the ear. Of course, Xie Lian. Like, come on. He stood in front of him, his right hand covering Xie Lian's left. His tone was exceptionally gentle and patient. His left hand found its way to Xie Lian's right hand, the one covering the lid, like this. And just like that, the back of Xie Lian's hands were enveloped with Hua Cheng's palms. Oh my god! Like, Xie Lian's having a moment. He's having a moment. And looks up, and Hua Cheng's looking down at him with, like, smiling at him. And Xie Lian couldn't help but return the fond smile. But then he realized the crowd of goats were watching him. Like this. That's right, just like that. What is this flirting? Oh my god! 2 3s. Could it be that I finally learned the trick? Xie Lian! Oh my god, no, Xie Lian, honey. This round doesn't count. I'm teaching you right now. Try again. Oh my god. Long and Xingxin were tongue-tied. They stare with their mouths gaping open. And everybody's just flabbergasted. Everyone quiet down. I'm flirting with my man. His face heating up. Oh, Xie Lian, your days of monkhood abstinence were not preparing you for San Long, clearly. See, it's a little higher this time. You did well. Keep going. With one compliment after another. Oh, there were giggles. In the beginning, he paid close attention in studying how Hua Cheng positioned his hands, how he managed the pace, and how he grasped the cup. But now, he was letting Hua Cheng's hand lead him and shook blindly. What if San Long's just playing around with me? He's just flirting with you. You're just an idiot and you don't realize it. There's no such thing as a correct posture. He must have cheated. And then the Windmaster's like, let him flirt! Quit getting in the way! Oh, shut up, bastard. We're just getting to the exciting part. Yes! Oh my god. Everybody's like, it's getting to the good part. He's teaching him how to play. Let us have this fun. All these girls like come up to Long and they're like, we'll de-pants you if you don't stop. Oh my god. Ah! Oh wow. San Long, leave them be. Let us continue. Oh, higher than the last. But Xie Lian realized Hua Cheng was fooling around with him and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He thought about betting 10 years of his own life. Of course he would. But his lifespan was so long, 10 years wasn't really worth much. Money and treasure he didn't have any. Spiritual power he didn't have much of that either. Xie Lian couldn't think of anything to bet on. Do you think there's anything on me that's worth betting on? Anything's fine. What have you got on you? He doesn't mention the ring, which is interesting because that's the gift that Sanlong gave him. Okay. I've got a half-eaten bun. Oh, no one else laughed. A bun will do. Oh, shit. This makes it so ominous! My life is worth a half-eaten bun? It's the last round, don't be nervous. Long thought that he won, but he's like, no, you're mistaken. I wouldn't have been able to win you back. He clearly let him win. Yeah. Only the thin braid tied with red coral bead. Gege, you won against me. Please stop teasing me. Oh, the Lord changed his skin again today. Oh, interesting. So that's not his true form. But they all think he's a puppet, and Xie Lian knows it's the real. Oh my gosh! Woo! All right, chapter 38. Woo! He doesn't know. He doesn't know if Hua Cheng wants to recognize him or not. Oh, hold it. Oh, and everybody's questioning them. Oh, shit, and they're suspecting him. Oh, you lost the round before. You said not to worry because it didn't count. Oh, of course, the ones that were bet against me didn't count. What I'm referring to is the first round that you gambled at the long table. Oh! When he wanted to test it out. I admit my loss. The prize that he promised. The bun? Yeah. Huh. I've claimed this prize! Ah. It's cold a little bit hard. I don't mind. He'll take anything that Xie Lian's. He's so obsessed with Xie Lian. He's like, I want that half-eaten bun. I want it. It's my precious. Oh my god. Now they parted for him with fear and suspicion. I'm feeling good today. I'm heading to Paradise Manor. Oh. He just saw Long taking a bite out of it and looking back at him like winking. Oh my god. Oh! What an experience, right? Oh. Yeah, saying his heart was beating madly because they ran too fast. No, that's a nice try, Xie Lian. Nice try. How could you be so rash? We're in the middle of the ghost territory. It would destroy peace in the three realms. You shouldn't have jumped in by yourself. Yeah, good. Windmaster, give him a scolding. A maternal scolding. Let's leave it. He's like, we were going to try to get around it too, but he's too pure. Let's just leave it, right? Your Highness, I meant the elder. I meant Boomer Xie Lian. Yeah. Elder, it's true I'm a little older, but not by that much. Why is it that when it comes to me, I always sound like they're referring to a grandpa? Boomer Xie Lian! Boomer Xie Lian! Oh my god! This is the Crown Prince of Shanli, Xie Lian, a heavenly official that's highly regarded by the Heavenly Emperor. That picks up scraps. Oh. So you're the prince that ascended thrice. Oh. He really had slept through the entire meeting. Wow. Okay. Didn't think too much about their past history. Interesting. Windmaster, it's fake, all fake. That is a good point. Why would Sanlong act like he didn't know Xie Lian? Well, that's for a lot of reasons, right? It's real. Aww. Like he was learning an extraordinary little secret. Oh, that made him happy. Oh. Long is like, went easy on him. Why? And they're just like, we'll tell you when you're older. That's amazing. Wow, Long is not how he seemed to me in the last set of chapters. He's changed a lot. Huh. Oh. So the Windmaster says that Xie Lian needs to go find Hua Cheng, tell him that he came here to see specifically him, and that he's brought his friends with him. And Long says no. If Xie Lian knows the Crimson Rain sought flower, you two are friends. And Xie Lian's like, yeah. He's like, well, that plan's not feasible. Even though a ghost king is no saint, the fact that he went easy on you must mean that he sees you as a friend. So then one must not lie to a friend. Oh, he's actually innocent. Oh no! And the Windmaster's like, oh, my God, you dimwit. And he's like, yeah, he's right. You agree with me too, right? How is this all right? Oh no. Oh, our success rate if we came back empty-handed would be lower than Ling Wen's palace, which would be an utter embarrassment. Oh. Xie Lian grinned just as he was about to speak. The sound of cries and howls that came from behind them made him turn around. A group of demons and ghosts ran past. Where's the brat with the bandaged face? Where the hell is he? Don't worry, they're not after us. Just as the words left his lips, their ears were pierced by a shrill, deafening cry. Oh no! Oh! The kid with the bandages! He's coming back into this! Oh no! Oh no! Oh my God. Of course he would be. Of course he would be. Oh my God. Oh, we're tying that all back together, and you had to leave on a cliffhanger. You had to leave on a cliffhanger like that. Damn it. Okay. All right. I'm going to go look at the Manhua, and then we're going to come back and talk about like all these notes I have. This book is insanely good. we're only what, 94 pages into this volume. This is really good. I love this volume already more than the first one, and we're not even a third of the way through it. So I'm like, So we're bringing the Bandage Boy back. I'm glad that he's back in the story already. I was afraid it would take a lot longer. If it's the same Bandage Boy, we don't know, but I'm going to assume there aren't a lot of Bandage Boys wandering around other than the one that was on Mount Yujin and San Long. But yeah, so I love this so far. The only picture that we get out of these chapters, sadly, in the English translation, it is a glorious picture, but it is the picture of old San Long with the cup and Xie Lian. What a great, and he just looks so soft. San Long, oh, Hua Cheng, he really is. He's interesting, and that whole coldness and everything. We'll talk about that, but the fact that he's so soft around Xie Lian. I took a lot of notes. I want to bring Whiteboard Coon out because there's lots of things that are being talked about in this. This was such a great set of chapters. Like, I can't wait to see this in the trailer, because the trailer for the Donghua, whenever it decides to come out, it basically covers, the trailer only covers like the first 2 episodes of the Donghua, so that's good to know. which is the scenes from the last section and then this here. But wait, man, the Manhua also does some really good illustrations. I'm not going to show too many screenshots, but they're really great. I love the Manhua. I can't believe I'm almost caught up with it, but the illustrations of Hua Cheng and Xie Lian and their expressions towards one another, they're so great. So I want to put a few things up here though and talk about them with you all, because some interesting things. Again, I'm really regretting my video last week because I was so suspicious of Long Chi-Chu. But now I'm like, no, he's going to be the one that's going to be a scapegoat for a lot of this, I feel, because he's so innocent and he's so naive, and Xie Lian's like, and he says, and it's funny because him and Xie Lian have a lot of similarities, but Xie Lian is a lot more wary, and we'll talk about that. There's a parallel between Long, and I'm just going to call him Long until the last video airs on Patreon. Y'all can correct me on how to say his last name. I'm just going to call him Long. The parallels between him and Xie Lian are so striking and interesting that I'm very, very curious what MXTX is going to do with that, like where that part of the story is going to go. But his character already, I was so suspicious of him in the last set of chapters, and now I'm like, oh no, honey. Oh no, you're going to be the one to get us in trouble because you're a dummy. And not that he's dumb, it's just, we'll talk about this. So yeah, this chapter, so let's just go through it. The Windmaster backstory. So there's stuff about the elementals I want to make note of, that they're all addressed by their titles. I get very much Sailor Stars vibes, where they appear to be a man, she can change into a woman. I said this in the reaction, there's kind of like a body horror element where they don't really get a say in how they present themselves. It's like, that part's kind of creepy. It's not really necessarily free will, it's how the people portray them, which is kind of crazy, like you are what people say you are sort of situation, which is kind of a running theme in this story, and that's probably why Xie Lian wants to keep a low profile as much as he can. But the idea, so we have the Windmaster, and I like the Windmaster's character. I like the Windmaster's character because they're very much, they just kind of go with the flow. They like flutter like a breeze, which kind of makes sense because their brother is the Water Master. We're gonna talk about that. Their brother is the Water Master Oooooh, and they are Xing Shan. Okay. So, yeah, and they both had the she. I think that they're half-brothers. I think that's what the book was saying. They have the same mothers, but different fathers, maybe. But it's funny because his brother is also called the Water Tyrant. Yeah, San Long did not have very many good things to say about him early on in the story. He wasn't really happy with him, that he controls all the mortal wealth. It's interesting because the Windmaster kind of holds his brother in high regard. He's portrayed by Pei Ming, who's like a buddy. Okay, so Pei Ming is a friend. It's very interesting the relationships between these characters, because San Long seems to be okay with Pei Ming. He respects Pei Ming. But he has like disdain towards the Water Master, but they're friends. So that's interesting. And then the Windmaster clearly loves his brother and supports him, but doesn't like Pei Ming at all. So I just have a feeling that San Long is not going to like the Windmaster. And he's met them before back in Banyu, but he was more focused on the Earthmaster than he was the Windmaster. I just get the impression that maybe San Long will be indifferent. Maybe that's the best way. If he likes Pei Ming and doesn't like Woodoo, then maybe he'll just be indifferent with the Windmaster and be like, eh. So maybe we'll go with that. But I find that relationship really interesting. I like the idea. The idea that they ascended together is curious, that they were only a few years apart, and Xie Lian makes note that that's a very rare thing to happen. Like, it's automatically rare that two deities, two heavenly officials, are even related to begin with. Like, what are the odds of that happening? And we established that Pei Ming and Pei Jr. are like hundreds of years, multiple generations, like barely even recognizably related. They're just by name alone. But for these two, they're brothers, and they ascended within a few years of each other. So that's interesting. And I want to make note that Woodoo ascended first, right? Woodoo ascended first. And in the Windmaster, he says, I'm trying to think how his brother is tied to money and power, which makes sense. The Windmaster's gathering out all the merits too. So it's funny that you have the Water Master that's controlling like mortal wealth, and the Windmaster kind of is popular and has control with the Heavenly Realms wealth. So it's curious, these two are kind of like hand in hand with that. But yeah, Woodoo ascended first, and then the Windmaster fought a calamity to ascend. Which is crazy, right? He fought a calamity to ascend. My theory is that the Windmaster and the Water Master are tied to the Blackwater calamity. My theory is that they're tied to him. And maybe that's the calamity the Windmaster fought to get ascended. It would kind of make sense, because if Woodoo ascended first and he was the Water Master, that means he'd be around all this water area. So if you're looking like the water ghoul in Modazushi, maybe the Blackwater calamity was there in the same place that Voodoo was, and his brother happened to show up, and his brother fought to like help his brother, and that got into a sin. Like, I could see something like that situation like that happening, where the Watermaster, I wonder if the Watermaster tried to tailor the situation so that the Windmaster could ascend. I don't know how that works, but I just feel like they're all connected, and it just seems kind of funny that we have a Watermaster and the Calamity, the Blackwater, who both have Sean in their name. I'm like, is there a third brother that's the Calamity? Is the Blackwater like the third brother of these two, and he helped him ascend? I don't know. I just find it really curious that we have these similarities and like little threads tying them together, and we, funny enough, we've been given information about the Watermaster and that he's threatening, and then we have the Blackwater Calamity that nobody wants to talk about, and they're like, oh, he just kind of hangs off to himself. I don't know. It seems like maybe they could be connected, but again, my theories could be wildly off base, so don't correct me. Just let me wallow my ignorance, because I'm already reconsidering some things that I thought a week ago. So, you know, like you do. But I just find that really interesting that he fought a Calamity, and he doesn't like Pei Ming, that's friends with him. The Windmaster hates him for reasons we don't know. I mean, I could see the Windmaster why he hates him, because he kind of brings up the fact that Pei Ming, that he'd be willing to bully a little girl. And he's like, I'm not about that. Like, the Windmaster seems to have a strong sense of justice. And that sense of justice seems to align with Xie Lian. So Xie Lian's like, oh, look, I'm glad I met a friend and that you're them, because that's great. So then we get the idea of the three tumors, which is such an awful thing to say. The three tumors, which are Pei Ming, Voodoo, and Ling Wen of all people. Ling Wen of all people to have a bad reputation. And I felt so bad in this moment when Xie Lian's like, I thought it'd be Xie Lian, and Xie Lian. I'm like, stop it. Quit being self-loathing, Xie Lian. You cut that out. But yeah, so I get why Pei Ming would have a bad reputation, because he's a womanizer. I get why that would be the case. We've established that the Watermaster has a bad reputation as the Water Tyrant, so that makes sense. But Ling Wen? Really? That's the third one with the bad rep? Like, she seems like she's just doing all she can to do research for y'all, and she has a bad rep. But then we find out that people have changed her into a man to make her seem competent. So maybe by bad reputation, you have bad reputation in terms of being a lover, bad reputation in terms of being a tyrant, and bad reputation in terms of being a woman. Maybe that's the situation, because they often make her into a man. I'm like, MXTX tackling like good old-fashioned sexism. And I'm like, of course. I'm glad that this series, in comparison, like in Modao Zushi, there's not really hardly any women around. It's a sausage fest in Modao Zushi. Not that we have a problem with it, but like you literally have Wei Wuxian's sister and the Ghost General's sister, and they're like the main two women in the whole series. And they're great characters, but that's it. Like, we don't really have a lot of female characters. And so the series already has more than that one did. So that's a fun time. But yeah, the Windmaster, he's like, my sense of justice, bullying a little girl is low. He doesn't like Pei Ming because he would resort to sacrificing and scapegoating somebody else just to save face with his descendant. And Windmaster's like, that's not cool. She didn't do anything wrong. Leave her alone. So I do like that we established the Windmaster has a strong sense of justice and seems like a good person. I'm like, okay. So then we talk about the stories with the gender. The Windmaster says that they're stronger as a woman, which kind of makes sense. If people kept praying to the female version of the Windmaster, that would make them stronger. And so we get talking about how maybe Ling Wen has a bad reputation because she chooses to stay in female form in the Heavenly Realm. It seems like they made a note that the upper court doesn't really care what people think. They're at the highest level possible, so why does it matter? And it's like, And it makes me wonder if San Long kind of went there to fight them to kind of knock them down a peg and be like, let's take your ego down a notch. Seems like it could have been the case. But I feel bad. I feel bad, one, for the Windmaster, because Windmaster didn't choose to have a female form. It was kind of just placed upon them. I'm now super curious about the Earthmaster and how they got a female form. If there's something up with that, I'm super curious about it. Or if they just randomly chose to become a woman, kind of like what I wonder if the Windmaster told Ming Yi, be like, hey, since we're undercover, why don't you turn yourself into a woman, and that way we won't get detected. And unlike Xie Lian, who was like, please no, I don't want to become a lady, they actually went through with it because they're like, sure, whatever. That could be it. That could have been the case. But yeah, I'm really sad that they couldn't just be brothers that were worshipped in the same temple. People thought it'd be weird to see two guys together. And I'm like, surprising no one. But then they started to make up all the rumors that the Windmaster was a woman. Luckily, despite the fact that it's kind of terrifying, the Windmaster doesn't seem to be bothered by the fact that they have a female form. They're kind of okay with it. They're like, as long as I'm pretty, I'm fine. I'm like, good on you, Windmaster. I'm glad that you're totally cool with that. But I feel bad for Ling Wen. I feel bad for Ling Wen that they are not seen as competent unless they have a male form. Like, man, MXTX, I like that she spares no expense to just have, like, the hypocrisy. And then I love that the Windmaster comes back around and says that gender doesn't matter. That gender does not matter. I'm glad that that's a big message that the Windmaster kind of purports to the story and to us, the audience, saying the sad thing is, and they kind of tie that to saying that the legends are fake. Which seems like a meta comment that a lot of the things that we encounter in the story are not going to be as they seem. So I feel like we're at the point in the story where we're just going to like preview those little elements that are going to come back and be important later on. But yeah, the Windmaster's like, gender doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with spiritual power, has nothing to do with how strong you are or how famous in the heavenly realm you can become. It doesn't matter. The people in the mortal realm are what make it seem like it matters. And that seems like such a commentary by MXTX saying like, no, gender really doesn't matter. We just make it that way. And it's kind of our own fault that we pigeonhole people into these circumstances, like Ling Wen is. And so I think that's a really cool commentary that she chooses to add in these chapters as we're going through the explanation of how the Windmaster can turn into a woman. Good on you, MXTX. Good on you for having thematic elements tie flawlessly into the story. I like it. So yeah, so God or ghost, you must appear as people believe. So that kind of ties into San Long and how he presents himself in the ghostly realm. We'll talk about that when we get a little bit closer, but the idea that you have to present yourself how people believe, the upper court don't really seem to be worried about any of this. And then the Windmaster trying to convince Xie Lian to become a woman. I do like in the Manhua. In the Manhua, Xie Lian's like, if I became a woman, and it shows him like in this womanly body and approaching San Long, and San Long is like, like you don't see his face, but you can just tell by his body language. He's like, And Xie Lian's like, let's not do that. So I'm glad Xie Lian's female version doesn't look, Xie Lian's pretty enough. He doesn't need a female version. It's fine. So we also get, I'm going to tie up Xie Lian here. We get a few things about him. We're going to put Xie Lian versus Long. Our old boy Long. Kyungchu. All right, we're going to tie this. So apparently Xie Lian does not drink. And the reason why he doesn't drink, it's just a little throwaway line. It's very small. But he says that it causes insanity. So either Xie Lian is a bad drunk and like gets enraged and, goes off the handle, or Xie Lian like gets drunk and gets a little bit flirty and leads to things happening. So I'm like, MXTX, are you prepping stuff to happen later on? So basically, Xie Lian has the alcohol tolerance of Lan Wangji. Which I'm sure will in no way, shape, or form lead to shenanigans later on in this story. But that seems like what they're bracing for, right? I like that there's elements of San Long and Xie Lian that are similar to Lan Wangji and Wuxian, but at the same time, drastically different. It's kind of cool. So yeah, the Ghost City appears. It's very much like the movie Spirited Away. If you've seen Studio Ghibli's film, it so has that vibe, only it's like the darker, gorier version of it. Which I'm all about. I'm like, let's make this, it's the ghost realm, let's make it scary. I'm with San Long, we'll talk about that, but I love that a lot. And then I just love the fact that Xie Lian, he gains confidence looking at all the food, being like, all right, I can cook here. I can blend in as a ghost. He's like, I can do it. He's like, my cooking's as bad as these ghosts. I'll be fine. I love that he gains confidence in that. That's hilarious. But yeah, they sneak in with the girl ghosts who are talking about like getting facials and helping their rotting faces, and they're amazed that Xie Lian and the Windmaster, they're not suspicious of them for any other reason other than that their face looked good. And they're like, where'd you get a facial at? And they're like, huh. And so the Windmaster gets dragged off with them. The butcher scene is so interesting, and MXTX takes a good little chunk of time to talk about it, but it's funny that it's a big polar opposite. Instead of humans butchering the pigs, it's the pigs butchering people. And it's so grisly and creepy, and Xie Lian's just like, it's like he looks at a car crash and he can't look away. He's like, what is this? And so, but because he stares too long, he gets separated from the Windmaster. And in the ghost realm, in the ghostly city, there's no Wi-Fi here. So there is no heavenly realm communication. I think that's important that they note it. Again, it's a little throwaway bit. If you could read over it and not really and easily skim over it, because they don't dawdle on it. They don't spend a lot of time on it, but they just quickly establish we can't talk to anybody. We are in this spare. There's no Wi-Fi connection, no signal. We're out in the boonies. And so we're stuck here without being able to contact the heavenly realm, which is a little problematic because if something goes wrong, there's no way for them. They'd have to literally leave the city and go find help. There's no way to just do a communication array and call for help. They're kind of stuck there. That, I'm sure, will not be of any consequence in this volume. I'm sure everything will be fine. But that's good to note, right? And so this woman shows up trying to seduce Xie Lian. And I feel like the only reason we get this scene is to establish a couple of things about Xie Lian, which again are self-loathing heavenly being. So he establishes that Xie Lian, let's just bring out the elephant in the room. Xie Lian is not into ladies. Now, he masks this quite, and honestly, it's the most obvious thing in the book because he's repulsed by her, which granted, it's not because she's a woman, it's because she's disgusting and a ghost, and she's throwing herself at him. But later on, like with any other female character, he has like no remote reaction, but he keeps talking about the pleasing deep voice of San Long, his pleasing tall legs. He keeps describing San Long exactly like Wu Shen describes Lan Wangji, and it's like, we get it. You're not into ladies. You're into San Long. We get it. So we also established that Xie Lian is an 800-year-old virgin that we know of. He has been practicing abstinence since his days in the palace. He does not, I'm going to go with the 800-year-old virgin because he does not say at any point in that monologue that he compromised that with anybody at any time. He doesn't mention that. He just says he's been practicing abstinence since his temple days. And so he's had like temple abstinence training. Yep, he's our 800-year-old virgin. I'm sure San Long is totally fine with that. But yeah, so he's practiced abstinence as a mortal. And then I felt bad for him in this because, and a lot of you have commented, like the one thing about Star Ember's artwork in the manhwa is that she kind of portrays Xie Lian as more feminine and kind of like frailer, where in the book, he seems like a man, like a dude, like he's a built dude. But the woman being like, are you even a man? And Xie Lian with the downcast eyes being like, I am. I was like, no, I think that that's totally fine. And it's a BL trope that there always seems to have to be, in a lot of BL, there has to be like the manlier man and the more feminine man. And it's like, no, I'm not really about that. I'm kind of like, I get that Xie Lian's like, no, I'm a man. I got like Neon Genesis Shinji vibes in that moment where he was like questioning his masculinity. And so, but to keep people from asking, like his thing is he doesn't want to have relations with anybody. He's like, I don't want to have relations with anybody. And there's like kind of an asexual vibe to it where Xie Lian's like, or an aromantic vibe where he's like, and I don't say aromantic because Xie Lian seems like he's kind of a romantic. He even talks about it with the whole Ashes thing with San Long. But it seems kind of like there's a little asexual vibe there or demisexual, I guess, if his only sexual attraction is with San Long. There is a demisexual quality there. And so he's kind of like, I don't want to have to explain myself. And that's so relatable. Like if you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody and you don't want to have to explain it, then you sometimes make up excuses that are lies, but it's just to get people off your back. You're like, I just need to say this so you'll go away. and leave me alone. And so for Xie Lian, because it's Xie Lian, he thinks of the most embarrassing thing he possibly could, which he lies about erectile dysfunction. And if you had told me when I started this novel that I would have to use the word erectile dysfunction, I would have said you're insane. But no, he's like, I can't get it up. And everybody's like, oh, okay, well, back off. And it's like, I'm glad San Long wasn't there, because he'd be like, let me try. I feel like that's how he would react, right? But it's so sad because Xie Lian, people can't just accept him the way that he is. And so he's like, he just has to lie about it. And you can tell he's embarrassed, but he says that he's used it many times before. I'm like, Xie Lian, just, why are you trying to hurt yourself, dude? There's no reason for that. But that's what he does. So then we get to the gambler's den. And I love that it has like the three, they explain the verses or the 3 lines of poetry that are hanging over like an establishment. And there's money over life, gains over shame, ha 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 ha. And Xie Lian's like, And I love Xie Lian like thinks that the lines are crass, but he's more concerned about the calligraphy. He's like, man, somebody did a terrible job painting this. It's like, this posh boy, our posh bean, like even though he's lived 800 years as a scrap deity, he still can't get over the fact that some of that poshness from the palace kind of seeps through in him, which is a fun trait that he has. But yeah, so money over life, like your materialism. It's like, it's a hedonist paradise, right? It's the idea of money over life, gain over shame. Like there's no shame, there's no life worthy. It's all about, there's like a hedonism aspect to it. So we're gonna put this down here. We're gonna put San Long. San Long / Hua Cheng, right? And the idea of the gambler's den. The Gambler's Den and Paradise Manor, which seem to be his 2 more frequented establishments. But yeah, so we get the story of the idea of the man betting, right? And so San Long, the man betting with his limbs, and Xie Lian recognizes San Long's voice. It's just a little bit deeper, pleasing to the ears. It's like, I like that as we encounter Hua Cheng, he's more and more like maybe his true form. So his voice is getting deeper. He's getting a little taller. Xie Lian's like, oh my. It's like, it's great. But the man betting. So San Long lets him. I wondered if the man betting originally with the 10 years of his daughter's life, I wondered if San Long let him win. If San Long let him win because Xie Lian was there. But here's the funny question. What's not entirely sure is if San Long knew Xie Lian was there the whole time. Because Xie Lian seems to go there of his own volition, like it was fate. Like he was strung by a red string of fate to go see San Long. It feels like the fates were willing him to go into the gambler's den, even though he knew the Windmaster probably wasn't there. He just kind of he goes in there regardless, right? Like it's tied to it. What we don't know for sure is if San Long knew that Xie Lian was there. He knew Xie Lian was there the whole time, though, because he mentions that he lost the first bet when he arrived. But that's after he saw the Windmaster. So, that's a big question. Like, did he know that Xie Lian was there the whole time? Because that does alter kind of the perception, because Xie Lian thinks that even though San Long has done bad things, he's a good person. So when the man bets his arm and San Long's like, no, your arm's not worth the bet. Like, let's be real. He bets his daughter's 10 years of her life, and Xie Lian's like, oh, that's awful. What kind of father would bet 10 years of his daughter's life just for winning a gambling match? He's like, that's awful. And he's like, surely San Long wouldn't take him up on that offer. He does, but the man wins. And we've established that San Long kind of has some manipulation power over the gambling den to begin with, and the ghosts don't really question it because he's the supreme ghost king. But Xie Lian, if San Long knew he was there the whole time from the start, then him letting the man win the gamble, I wonder if that was just to stay on Xie Lian's good side, because he's like, he knows how Xie Lian is, and he's like, oh, I'll let him win, and then he can go about his business. And my Gege won't think less of me. Because San Long seems like he doesn't want Xie Lian to think less of him or to think badly of him. So that could be, or it kind of works both ways. Either he let the man win to be nice, to look nice in Xie Lian's eyes, or he actually let him win because he knew that was a stupid gamble and why would you do that? And so he let him have a chance off, and he actually does have a conscience deep down in his little heart. Now, I think it's the former. Honestly, I think it's the former because they're used to these gambling stuff happening all the time when Xie Lian's not there, and San Long seems to let it happen. But they established that he just got to the gambling den a few days ago, and he's been hanging out there ever since. That makes me think that he knows that Xie Lian's on his way to come investigate. He's lured Xie Lian with the whole dragon signal, and he's just been hanging out waiting for Xie Lian to show up, right? He's just been hanging out waiting for him to come and find him. That's what I think. But the sad thing is that the man wins the bet, and he should leave. He should go, but he doesn't. He wants to bet more. He gets greedy. He gets greedy in the gambler's den. And now that he's won that one little bet, now he wants to bet the lives of every businessman that he could be up against. And he wagers it with 20 years of his daughter's life and her marriage. And Xie Lian's like, whoa, that's too much. And Xie Lian says, well, San Long's not going to let him take up that bet. He's not going to let him do that. That's way out of his reach. And I'm like, So the question becomes, would San Long let the wagers get too extreme? And I think that part of Hua Cheng's deal with Xie Lian is he reveres Xie Lian and wants him to love him so much so that when he's around Xie Lian, he presents the best image of himself because he wants Xie Lian to love him. But the reality is that San Long is not a nice person. No, and I think that had Xie Lian not been there, yeah, he would have let the guy make the bet because it's kind of the guy's own fault. The man got greedy. San Long had been like, look, he made the bet. We tried to talk him out of it. The one lady tried to say, don't you want to bet something else? And he said, no. He's like, I tried. What do you want me to do, Xie Lian? So I think if Xie Lian hadn't have been there and if Long hadn't have stepped in, I think he would have let him do it. And he would have gone with it and been like, ooh. So I do think there's a fine line where San Long is not a nice person. He does bad things. And it's those actions he takes that are monstrous that he's afraid that Xie Lian won't like him because. And it's like, well, Xie Lian's going to like you regardless. He said that, but Xie Lian has such faith in San Long that he wouldn't do something bad. It's like, oh, honey. I feel like it's all going to blow up at some point, and San Long's going to be like, I'm the Ghost King. I don't do nice things. And Xie Lian's going to have to come to grips with that. So I feel like it's all going to come to a head at some point, but they kind of skirt around it in these chapters and say, like, here's what Xie Lian thinks of San Long. Here's how San Long actually kind of is, and what are we going to do with that? But before Xie Lian can step in, the Windmaster shows up. And the Windmaster's like, now wait a minute. I love that the Windmaster's first lines are like, how's my face? Am I looking good? The Windmaster's very vain, but it fits with their personality and it's harmless, so I love it. But the Windmaster's like, okay. And it's a classic trope where these characters, like, they go through like, okay, we need to be careful. We need to be cautious. We need to slowly infiltrate. Don't do anything rash. Don't do things sudden. We don't want to be known. And then what happens? Long bursts in and smashes the guy's hand on a table and prevents him from betting. And the Windmaster's like, forget everything I just said. So Long. Let's talk about Long. Long Chengchu, our boy there. He is not what I thought he was going into these chapters. The thing about it is that Long vocalizes a lot of Xie Lian's thoughts. That's the crazy thing. Like, Xie Lian was saying, I need to step in and do something, and Windmaster's like, whoa, let's be cautious, and Xie Lian's like, okay, yeah, let's be on our guard a little bit more. But Long just comes in, but he says basically what Xie Lian's thinking. He vocalizes it just in a heroic kind of pompous manner, but he says the exact same thing that Xie Lian was going to say. He just vocalizes it, right? But he didn't leave it up to San Long to determine whether or not it was the right thing to have a wager go to. He didn't trust that Hua Cheng would make the right choice. He just burst right in and challenged the Ghost King. But the thing of it is that Long didn't realize it was the Ghost King. So it's like, you brought a knife to a bazooka fight, basically, right? And so I love the Windmaster's like, wow, Long, what are you doing? And I love that Xie Lian's like, is he just, did you not prep him or debrief him? We had to be covert. And the Windmaster's like, he's kind of just like this. I like the Windmaster's like, well, because when the Windmaster first said that they were meeting Long there, I was like, well, that seems suspicious that they're conveniently meeting in this gambler's den where Hua Cheng just happens to be, and that's who they're looking for. Seems a little sketch. But then we find out, no, Long is just ridiculous. He's innocent and naive. He is naive. He's naive and heroically innocent. You know what he reminds me of? I was thinking that there's these comparisons between Xie Lian and Long, where they're both the crowned prince, right? They're both the crowned princes of lost kingdoms, right? And they both, Long conquered Xie Lian's kingdom, and that's how he became a deity. But the thing of it is, I feel like Lan, he is what Xie Lian could have been. He is what Xie Lian could have been if he had stayed in the heavenly realm. That's what I think that Long represents. Him and Xie Lian both have a similar sense of justice. They both are thinking the same things throughout these chapters. It's constantly shown that they're kind of paralleled. They're both crown princes. I think that if Xie Lian had not gone back to Shanli whenever it had the human faces break out and try to help, I think if Xie Lian had just blissfully stayed in the heavenly realm, he would have turned out like Long. And had been someone with this sense of justice, but is woefully innocent and woefully naive to the situation and gets himself into trouble. I think that's what MXTX is saying. Like, this is what Xie Lian could have become, but because of all his trauma, he's now our sweet cinnamon bun deity. So it's like, okay. But yeah, he's very naive. San Long is like, and I love that Long kind of chides Hua Cheng, being like, how could you do this? Like, this is a den of sin. This place is disgusting. How can you let it be like this? And San Long says, look, this ain't heaven. He's like, I love the way that he phrases this. He says, if you don't choose heaven, then hell is what you get. He's like, what do you expect this to be? He's like, it's not heaven. What else can it be? He's like, this is their choice. Like, this is the polar opposite of where they could go. So why should we try to make it anything else? He's like, I don't understand what you want from us. And then the thing of it is, Long knows, like Xie Lian figures out that Long must know that San Long knows that Long is a heavenly official, because when they pushed the table back and forth, which I love that they pushed the table back and forth, and it's like all that Long can do to like hold it, and Hua Cheng's just like doing that, like not even playing. Like, he's just like whatever. But Long almost gives himself away and almost reveals that he has these powers. And it's like, and Xie Lian and Windmaster are like, no, if you reveal that you're a heavenly official, our cover's gonna be blown. They're gonna be wondering why we're here. It's gonna be a bad deal. And so luckily, Long is smart enough to realize not to do that at the last minute. And it almost seems like Hua Cheng seals his powers and suspends him intentionally. Like, it almost seems like Hua Cheng realized that Long was a heavenly official, and he's like, oh no, we can't have that, because he wants to see Xie Lian. So he seals the powers and suspends him and is like, get this guy out of here. And so I feel it's almost like a way to flush Xie Lian out if he suspected he was there. But God, I love it. And Long does not release his power, but then it gets sealed. And I love that Long is our innocent, naive boy. So him suspended in the air, he's never had such an embarrassment happen to him. So he's just sitting there like fighting it. Like, and the Manhua does a really good job of drawing him like just suspended, being like, let me down. Like, he's spoiled, right? And so I also love the head pats. I love that he's not used to being embarrassed. He's suspended in the hall, and the people come up and they try to pat his head. I'm like, I want to see this animated so badly. I really do. I'm really excited to see this, honestly. But From there, Xie Lian and the Windmaster, they're like, okay, what we gonna do? So they decide to play along. I love that Xie Lian asks the Windmaster, like, how good's your luck? And the Windmaster's like, it's so-so. It's kind of like the wind, it comes and goes. And Xie Lian's like, well, mine is bad. And so they decide, it's such a clever callback too, because they decide to test it out, and he loses the bet and realizes, well, the rules of the game may change, but my bad luck's bad luck no matter what. And Sanlong didn't forget. He saw Xie Lian lose that first round. So that makes me think he knew that they were there the whole time. And he suspended Long up there to flush them out, to get them to come out and then reveal themselves. So he knew that Xie Lian was there, and he knew Xie Lian lost that first bet. And the fact that MXTX remembered that and held them to it, it's great. But then Xie Lian decides, the one woman that's in charge of the gambling den, especially for Hua Cheng, announces that Hua Cheng's going to play anybody that wants to come up to him and gamble against him. Like, come on, challenge the owner of the den. See what could happen. And the winner gets to take Long home. And Long's like, I'm not a thing. It's really cute in the manhwa. But Xie Lian decides to bet against Hua Cheng. And oh my god, the trailer presents him like behind the curtain, but the manhwa showing like him behind the curtain. It's such a parallel to the bridegroom scene on Mount Eugen in the first episode, where Xie Lian can just see his hands through the curtain and can kind of see a little bit of him. And it's like he looks a little older, his voice is a little deeper, he's a little more sexy. It's like Xie Lian. But yeah, the trailer shows. I love that at this point, Sanlong is like, I'm going to teach you how to hold the cup properly. Like, the flirting that happens in these chapters, the flirting is amazing. Because Sanlong, he's like, oh, you're not doing it right. Come over here, let me teach you. I'm like, smooth as silk. And our poor boy Xie Lian, like, goes over his head. Like, Sanlong is flirting with you. He wants to get you close to him so he can, like, put his hands all up on you. And Xie Lian just is like, he's like, is there a proper way to hold the cup? I'm like, and it takes him a while to figure it out that no, Sanlong was just trying to get you close to him. Like, it takes him a while to figure it out. I put in giant letters, the most flirting, and underlined it. Because that is, like, just Sanlong being gentle and gently, like, speaking to his ear and, like, being like, I'll teach you, it's all right. It's like, oh my god. Like, really? It's so intimate. To the point where the other ghosts and stuff are like, what? I love that it takes Xie Lian a moment to remember that everyone is still there. Even the Windmaster and Long, who are like, what we doing? Like, even that, like, it takes him, it's almost like it just, they lose time within each other and just feel like it's just the two of them in the room. Everyone else is gone. I'm like, that's love, damn it. It's so good. But then, yeah, Xie Lian, he finally wonders if Hua Cheng's playing him. He's like, wait. Because he starts out with, like, 2 3s, and then 2 4s, 2 5s, and then by the time he gets to 2 6s, he's like, there's no secret technique. He's like, Hua Cheng's just playing with me. And he's thinking that, and at the same time he's thinking it, Long screams it out loud. He's like, he's cheating! He's trying to corrupt you, Xie Lian! Like, he basically says whatever Xie Lian's thinking. And Xie Lian's like, and the Windmaster is just embarrassed that Long is just saying this all out loud. I wondered if the Windmaster would try to be like a wingman for Xie Lian and Sanlong. It seems like Long's being a great wingman. He just doesn't realize it. But I'm all for Windmaster and Long Qingchu being the wingmen for Xie Lian and Sanlong. I'm all for this. But yeah, Xie Lian questions. He questions if Sanlong's playing with him. And then Sanlong gets serious, though. He almost as if he's like, oh, you think I'm playing you? No, I'm being serious. And he makes Xie Lian make a bet. Like, you haven't made any bets on whether or not, if you don't get Long hanging up there, what are you going to give me? And that little tense moment there where Xie Lian's like, he doesn't bet the ring. And I feel like that's a really important point to make, that he questions. He's like, well, what do I have on me that's of value? He never brings up the ring. The ring's made of diamonds, or seemingly made of diamonds. It clearly, he talked in the last couple chapters about being like a treasure among treasures. Doesn't bring it up at all because he knows it was given to him by Sanlong, and it would be the utmost disrespectful thing to do to give it back. So he never brings it up. I'm like, that's love. Instead, he finds a half-eaten bun. And it reminds me of the half-eaten bun from when they were on the cart together, right? So it's kind of like that little tie back to the cart and everything. And so he's like, well, I could wager that. And I love that Long's like, am I just worth a half-eaten meat bun? It's like, he's like, bet something more. I love it. I love he's squirming up there. And the ladies, at one point, Long starts to get annoying, and the lady ghosts are like trying to de-pants him. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just chaos. MXTX, these chapters are chaos, and I'm here for it. But yeah, he takes the bet. And so I love it. And Xie Lian, he manages to win back Long. And everyone is convinced it's because of what Hua Cheng taught him. Everyone's convinced, they're like, oh, because of the techniques that Hua Cheng taught this young ghost, he was able to get him back. So they managed to spin it. Again, tying to the idea of it's what people believe, right? It's what people believe. Even if you're a ghost, how people perceive you is important. And Hua Cheng has made himself super powerful, and people believe it. They're fearful of him. But he also manages to like create this sense of like that he can be benevolent. It's funny to see how the perspective of Hua Cheng is like, it has shaped him, right? And that's so curious because the heavenly realm think he's the most terrifying thing under the sun. But the way Xie Lian sees him is totally different. So the thing of it is that it's the mortals that affect how I'm assuming it's the mortals that affect ghosts as much as they affect heavenly officials. So the mortals realizing how threatening he is and how terrifying he is affects him as a ghost. But then maybe also the humans that make their way into the ghost city, how they see him affects him as well. So that's interesting. I'm going to be curious to see how the whole idea of perception plays in this series, especially with characters like Xie Lian, with characters like Long, with characters like Hua Cheng, how that all affects them. Because we've seen how it affects the Windmaster, but I'm going to be curious to see how it affects Hua Cheng as we go. So yeah, he wins him back. Everybody's convinced it's because of Hua Cheng teaching him. Long believes that Xie Lian won outright, but Xie Lian knows better. I like that Long is still so innocent, naive that he's like, oh, you won because you outdid him. And Xie Lian's like, no, he let me win. But he doesn't want to say anything, right? And everyone also believes that Hua Cheng, the Hua Cheng that presents himself to Xie Lian is a skin, that it's a puppet. It's not real. But Xie Lian knows it's the real him. He can just change his appearance. And he looks more like San Long, just wilder, and his hair's undone. He kept the little braid, which is cute. But yeah, I like that he looks like Hua Cheng, like San Long, just a little bit different, a little bit older and more mature, right? So then I like that they're all getting ready to leave. Everything seems like it's resolved. I'm really sad that Xie Lian has to leave Hua Cheng. I'm like, well, you guys just got together again, and now you have to leave again because the Windmaster, and they gotta huddle outside and figure out what their next step is. And I was really sad that he was leaving, but then Hua Cheng stops him and he's like, hey. And I feel like Hua Cheng stopping him and asking him he's like, you lost that first bet you made. What are you gonna pay me? Like, that's telling Xie Lian, I knew you were here the whole time. It's like, ugh. And so Xie Lian's like, well, you want my meat bun? And he takes it and he holds it up like it's the most revered prize. He's like, look at my prize. And everybody's like, okay, like this meat bun must be special, right? And then I'm sorry, but he decides he's going to go to Paradise Manor, wherever that is. And everybody's all excited about it. But then he turns around and like takes the bite out of the bun and looks back at Xie Lian. Are you joking? I'm like, what? Like just that moment where he just takes it and like bites it in front of him, like he's winking at him, and it's like, and Xie Lian gets all flustered, and the Manhua does a really good job of showing Xie Lian be like, I gotta get out of here, and like his heart beats faster and everything. It's like, you got a thing, you got it bad, Xie Lian, our 800-year-old virgin. It's great. So yeah, they managed to get out. What I like about the end of this chapter, about the end of chapter 38, is that Long, he's pretty naive, right? He's pretty naive and innocent. But I like that he puts two and two together because the Windmaster's like, okay, we just need to go to Hua Cheng. You clearly have a relationship with him. We need to go just say that you came to talk to him, and then we'll find a way to sneak in the fact that we're trying to figure out about this heavenly official that sent out the signal. And like the Windmaster has this whole strategy planned out. And then Long, he speaks up and he's like, no, we're not going to do that. And Windmaster's like, why not? And he's like, well, because. He's so innocent. He's like, well, because like San Long and Xie Lian are friends, and friends don't lie to each other, so we can't have Xie Lian lying to him. And I was like, my heart. And I love that the Windmaster's like, you've got to be kidding me. I like, what else do you propose we do then? So, and then before we get answers, before we actually get any answers to the questions, we have the bandage boy show back up again. And that's where in the chapter. But the Windmaster's like, we have to be successful. So there is a little bit of Heavenly Realm influence with the Windmaster, because they're like, we have to bring some sort of results to the Heavenly Realm. We have to in some way show we were successful down here and we didn't just make fools of ourselves and bet a half-eaten meat bun and got nowhere. But Long's like, then we need to do it the proper way. And I'm like, he reminds me of Buzz Lightyear. He reminds me of Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. Long does, where he's like, I'm a hero and all this, and Xie Lian's like, you are a toy. You're a child's plaything. Like, I feel like Xie Lian's Woody and Long is Buzz, and that's all I could think about reading these chapters. It's kind of great. But yeah, so the bandage boy's shown up. Where that's going to take us, I don't know. Hua Cheng has gone to the Paradise Manor, whatever that is, and Windmaster has this plan that Xie Lian's going to just walk up to San Long and question him. So we've got some things set in motion, but y'all, this book is amazing. I'm loving this volume so much, and we're only that far in. That's it. We've got so much to go. I'm in love. So yeah, I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Please, no spoilers. I'm sure that I will find them as we go through this, but I'm really curious to know what you all thought of these chapters. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of this. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with more Heaven Officials Blessing Volume 2. Bye.